Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today we got Brandon.
Hello.
We're here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
I don't know what we're talking today about the game.
I didn't write anything down, sorry. I'm so dead today.
That's okay. We're gonna be talking about games and things. Nintendo had a couple announcements this week, and that's about it. You ready to get into it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So still playing Metroid Dread. I got to the final boss yesterday. And I knew he was going to be a pain in the ass, so I just let myself die and then just ended it there. I'm like, I don't have the time to figure out to relearn his moves again right now, so I'm like, we'll come back to this later. So they I forget how that. I mean, I know like the bosses are really very pattern oriented, and you basically have to like memorize their patterns to a T. I can't remember. Did you end up finishing Metroid Dread, or did you just?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did actually.
Yeah, I don't think you did either, if I recall. I remember talking about the ending with Nick during Game of the Year, but for some reason I don't think you finished it then. That final boss, it's like super. You will get your ass handed to you if you don't pay attention. So it's really, you really kind of have to have a good feeling for like kind of the flow and like the signs, the tells, for what attacks are coming. But it's good. I do really like it. I forgot the boss right before him too was a bit of a slog as well. But it's good. And definitely, I talked about it a bit last week, but game is excellent. It's an excellent Metroid game. So if you haven't played it, definitely pick it up. It's good looking. I'm excited to see what they're up to next. I'm guessing this group is probably working on another 2D Metroid, I would think, since they did so. And they did 2 already. And this one definitely was one of the best-selling Metroids that they've ever had. So, be excited to see what comes out next after this. So, hopefully not a remake. I want something new. So, it'd be nice to see maybe something set after Metroid Dread, like kind of see what that universe is like there after the events of this game, because it does end on a note where things are very different. So, it'll be interesting to see what's there. So, that's one thing. What else did I play? I did play like a couple other random things. My sister was in town, so I pulled out the Switch for like some party games. So played a couple of things one thing was new, and then one thing I really had actually not played 4-player since I've gotten it. So that one thing was Super Mario Party Superstars, or whatever the one that came out most recently was, prior to the one that's coming out this week. So we actually played through that. That was a lot of fun. DJ had never played Mario Party before at all. So that was kind of a surprise. And it was kind of funny because at first there was a lot of bitching. Yeah. And then it suddenly turned into this is actually kind of fun. And then we got over it. But yeah, it was kind of funny just because, he complained about it. He's like, why did this happen? Or why did this happen? Or why did I lose my star or whatever? I'm like, it's Mario Party. That's just how it is. You just get used to it, and it happens. So, so that was a lot of fun. I do really like Superstars because there's a lot of the great mini games like from the old ones. So that was a lot of fun. I'm as I said, still kind of tepidly excited for the new one, but it's not anything I'm going to rush out of my way to get. I don't ever play them enough to kind of warrant it, and usually end up playing them single player anyways. But I was surprised enough that DJ actually enjoyed the game so much. He's like, why don't we play this more often? So, so I kind of counted that as a win. The other thing that we played a bunch of was Jackbox. Obviously, Jackbox is always a good time. And I use this as an opportunity to get the Jackbox After Dark party pack kind of thing. So we only played one of the 3 games. We tried, what's it called? Something like Dirty Drawful or something, whatever it's called. Man, those prompts are just kind of ridiculous. Not surprised, because the normal Drawful prompts are kind of ridiculous. But the dirty ones were like what was it? Like one that I had was a forest of pubes so thick you can't see through it or something. So kind of extreme stuff. But we all kind of had fun with it, so that was fun. I think it's a bit harder to guess because there's just really just opening up a whole other can of worms. Definitely, you have to be with the right group of people for it. I don't remember what the other. I know Faking It's one of the other ones, which is Faking It. I really enjoyed, so that one I think actually would be kind of fun, if you have the right group of people. The last one, I don't remember what it was, um, but yeah, once we have another group to get together, I'll have to try it again and come back to it. So that was fun. That Jackbox is always good, and of course we did like trivia murder party and those kind of things. So that's always good. Um, and really the last thing I did, and this is not a video game update, just kind of a update.
Hmm.
Something I did. So I did see the Terrifier 3 this weekend.
Ah,
Um,
I'm so mad. I want to see it so bad.
yeah, I thought it was good. I don't think it was good as the other two. Um,
Ah, okay, okay.
So I would say, so my kind of thoughts are um, still very gory, very, I don't know what to call it, creative
Mm,
deaths, I guess. You
hmm.
got that. Um, but honestly, like this was, and I don't remember if it's just my memory, and you can probably fill this in. This one had a lot more like story driven bullshit than the other ones did.
Yep, that's what
Uh,
I've heard from other people that saw it also.
okay, so I was not imagining that. Okay.
Hmm.
I was
My
actually
friend
like,
told me to even watch the second one again because it ties directly into it and continues the story of the second movie.
yes. Yeah, very much so. And it was kind of it gave me kind of a because of that it gave me a Saw vibe because
Mm.
I still remember that one time I was like, "Oh, I'll watch just a random scary movie. They got Saw 6 on here. I haven't seen any of the other ones
Oh
except for
God.
2, but that's fine." No, it's not
It was
fine.
not fine. It was not fine.
And
You
this
did
one,
learn that it was not fine.
yes. And this was it comparatively not nearly as bad. I ended up spending with Saw 6, I ended up spending more time on the Wikipedia page than I did watching the movie. Because I had no fucking clue what was going on. This one I was kind of just like vaguely confused. And I was like, I'm not like I must be missing something from the last movie. But it did there's one kind of change to the story that I was not a big fan of.
Hmm.
Um, but I did think it was fun. DJ really enjoyed it, and it was really kind of more about what he wanted to do. So that was the most important thing that day. Um, but I thought it was good. I think that the actor who does Art the Clown does just an excellent job. Like his just like the way he animates himself is just
Yeah.
perfect a lot
Have
of
you
times.
seen the clips of him at Spirit Halloween's recently?
No,
He's been posing as Art the Clown as like a standee. It's like like a statue
yeah.
at Spirit of Halloween. He's just been standing there like a statue, like looking like one of the decorations, and then like he attacks people that are looking at him and scares them to death.
Oh, that's really
He's been
funny.
doing that at Spirit Halloweens all over the United States. It's been crazy. I've been watching a lot of his clips, and he is having a blast doing
I
it.
I did see when we were at, and I guess it makes sense because we stopped at a Spirit after the movie,
Hmm.
and they had an animatronic like art there, so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. He
Just
took
kind
the
of
place of the animatronic and
yeah,
was just
just
standing
pull that out
there.
and stick them in, and yeah, you would scare the shit out of like everyone.
Hmm.
The animatronic looked really good too. Like it wasn't kind of one of their. I mean, a lot of theirs honestly
Maybe it
don't
was
look too bad.
actually just him and you didn't know
I
it.
know, could be. I watched it for a while though, and he really was not moving, so it's possible. Um, but I was surprised just how much this kind of the Terrifier has just kind of really picked up in popularity lately.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's become huge, honestly. I'm really happy for him because, like, I really liked the first movie. I thought the first movie was like one of the best because of how gritty and like real it kind of felt. Because
yeah,
like that one felt like, damn, this is like some kind of snuff film essentially. The way it was shot, and the second one again, it went a little bit into story. It became more, a typical horror film. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the third one is. So yeah, I'm really
yeah,
happy that it's doing well. And like I said, the guy that plays Art seems to be having a ton of fun with the character,
that's good.
and yeah, I'm just happy it's doing well.
They did have. I don't know if you saw. They did announce a Terrifier video game this weekend as well.
I did not see that. That sounds awesome though.
Yeah, it is. It is like more like Turtles or Simpsons, like a side-scrolling arcade game.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and I think it's probably in the grand scheme of the series and things you want to do, probably not a bad way to do it. So, and fun, and I guess too you can enjoy it with other people. So, but yeah, so that was that. That was good. And if you like the other Terrifiers, you should like this one.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think people would enjoy it. They definitely set them up for a sequel, which doesn't really surprise me.
And
But I
David
think
Howard Thornton, that's his name. And yeah, he was at Comic-Con also.
doing the same thing.
Yeah, like dressed up like another one of the people, but not like dressed, dressing up like art,
Yeah.
pretending to be like a Comic-Con person, but then it's actually just David Howard Thornton just being Art the Clown at Comic-Con and other conventions.
And nobody would even think twice there because they'd be like, "Oh, it's cosplay."
Hmm.
No, that's funny. Someone else did that recently. I mean, not recently. Someone else went in there like
I know
crazy
Spider-Man did it.
costume.
The guy who plays Spider-Man, but he did it not as Spider-Man, which is what made it funny.
That is kind of funny. I don't remember who it was that I was just thinking of, but yeah, no, that's just Terrifier was fun. But I think that's all I played this week. At least the most notable things.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I am.
All right.
What have
So
you
I
been
mean,
playing?
I played some more Silent Hill too.
Uh-huh.
It's very, very good. I think I've finally decided, like, fully that this is a really good game. So yay, awesome. Moving on from that, I don't really want to say much about it because I mean, like, if you played Silent Hill 2, you kind of know what you're getting into. It's modernized, but it's good enough that, like, I think someone could play it as their first way through
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2, and it'd be totally
Mhm.
fine. In fact, I'm going to play through it with Katie as that, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. I also played a few other games, which I can't even fucking think of right now. One of them I can, and that's the new Dragon Ball Z game, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. That game is really fucking good. Like,
Yeah.
really, really good. Not even just like, oh, this is a Dragon Ball Z game, this is an anime fighting game, that sort of thing. It just as a fighting game, it is really good. Like, I've been having a blast playing it. The like single player is kind of like a condensed form of like all the story from like the entire series, and it's kind of not that great, but the multiplayer and the sheer amount of things that are packed into this game is
Mhm.
just awesome. Like, first of all, I believe I've said before, there's like 182 characters and whatnot. There's a lot, and on top of all of that, there is multiple different modes, and like one of the modes, if you like play online, for instance, and fight someone, um, each character costs a certain amount of points, so you can only have so many characters on your team. So you can get like one really, really big character, or you can get just a bunch of smaller characters and make a team that way. It kind of balances out, but at the same time, the game has like zero balance whatsoever, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Mhm.
I highly recommend this game if you're a fan of Dragon Ball or if you like fighting games. I played more Frag Punk, which is another game that has been out for a while now. I got into the closed beta of it, but people have been streaming it now, so I guess I can actually like talk about it a bit.
Mhm.
So Frag Punk is like, think of like hero shooters, think of like Overwatch, think of like, and I'm gonna call this a hero shooter, but it's not a hero shooter, but it does have a lot of the elements. Think of something like Rainbow Six Siege, where you have
Uh-huh.
different characters that you can play as, and they all have different abilities and whatnot. Think of that, and then like play Smash Brothers, but with
Mhm.
items on, and make that a first-person shooter.
Mhm.
And that's what Frag Punk is. And it's really, really fun. It's got a lot of really interesting ideas. So every time you start a round in the game, you get a deck of cards that appears. You get three for your team and three for the enemy team. So of the three cards, you have so many points based on how long you've been playing like the game or how many points you have left over that you haven't spent on other cards, and you get to vote on which cards to use for that round. Some of the cards will do things like add 5% headshot bonus damage, which is just like, okay, whatever. But then some of the cards are things like turtle backpack, which makes it so you have a turtle that sits on your back that blocks incoming bullets that are shot at you in the back. And then they have other cards that do things like like change the actual layout of the map. So like add greenery to the map on your area. So like there's like really tall grass for you and your like teammates to hide in for when the enemy comes to try to plant the bomb. And
Mhm.
there's all sorts of different things. There's one that makes it so everyone on your team either gets a diffuser or a bomb, depending on which team you're playing on. So then the enemy team has to deal with like fucking 6 bombs coming at them at the same time, and they don't know
Okay.
which place to defend because anyone on the enemy team could have a bomb if that card gets pulled. And it's just really goofy fun. Like it's not meant to be taken seriously, but it does have some competitive aspects with the like first person shooting elements and everything. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of randomization to it that makes it so each game kind of feels a little bit different because of what you and your teammates can vote on and what the enemy team can vote on as well. So like, enemy teams might be doing like more damage to you, or they might make it so your characters have big heads, so it makes it so it's easier to headshot you, and all this other stuff that makes the game like really really silly and really really fun. There was one that we played where we got like a super rare card in our card draw, and it made it so we flipped sides. So we were able to change to the enemy team and vice versa. So like we literally traded entire sides. So like they were a terrorist and we were the counter terrorists now, out of nowhere in the middle of the game for like one round. So it changed up the way they were playing, where they like had already, decided who was going to play what site to defend and everything. But nope, we got this card, and this card made it so they have to attack us instead, and we have all their setup and everything, and we have their site instead, and they have to attack for one round. And it's really different. It's really really odd the way it is done.
Hmm.
It doesn't take itself seriously, and it's got like a really like graffiti and like colorful aesthetic to it, but it's just fun. It's like really fun with all the different kinds of ideas it has going on with it. So yeah, it's sort of like the game that Sony just recently had fail, which was Concord, if Concord was actually like had a personality.
Hmm.
And that's what Fragpunk is. It's really good. I highly recommend it when it releases, probably sometime next year. It's lots of fun.
Okay. What else you got? Anything else?
You talked about a movie, so I'm going to talk about a movie also.
Okay.
So I watched Smile with Katie,
The
the
first
horror
one?
movie Smile. Yeah, the first one, because we wanted to decide if we were going to see the second one or not.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Have you seen the first one?
No, how is it?
I hated it. I
Okay.
thought this movie was dog shit. So I just want to put this into perspective without like spoiling a lot. But I feel like there was not a single likable character in the entire movie, and as such, that is the reason why I hated it. I
Hmm.
was rooting for the villain pretty much the whole time, because like you'd have your main character manipulating people, you'd
Yeah.
have the side characters being like assholes when something gets like tough, for them, and like even one person like broke HIPAA rules, which is really funny to me. And there's like a whole bunch of other things and elements in this that I was just sitting there like shaking my head, that made me be like, this is fucking dumb. And then
Yeah.
there were a lot of things where characters like they learned something, and then 10 minutes later the exact rule that they learned they just broke. And I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? Why are you fucking stupid? You just learned the thing and you didn't do the thing. And I just hated every single fucking character in this movie because they just were not good people, and they really sucked. There was like not a single character that I was like, okay, you're all right. Like every single one of them. You had like a fiance who just wants his perfect world to be the way it is and doesn't give a shit, and goes as far as to like look up someone's fucking hereditary and family life, and then blame someone's bouts of insanity that they're having based on the monster in this movie on their family like tree, basically being like, I looked you up because I wanted to know what shit I was getting into. And it's like, oh, I'm supposed to care about this character. I don't give a fuck about you. We had like second I had a random house call of a psychiatrist without
Uh-huh.
my permission, that kind of shit. And not like even like, oh, they came and they came to my door and they came to check on me. It was more like, oh no, they were in my living room when I arrived there, and it was almost more like a fucking what do you call those, like when someone's been drinking too heavily and you have to like,
Oh, 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 oh. I
or like
got it.
drugs
I
and that
I
sort of
got it.
thing.
Hold on, where is it? I see it in my head.
Hmm.
Um,
Intervention. There we go.
Yes, yes,
Intervention.
yes, yes, yes.
It was more like an intervention than like speaking with someone about their mental problems. It was like it was really shittily done, and it didn't feel like something that would actually be done by a medical professional, and it really bothered me. And then like you had other characters where it's like, I'm trying to manipulate you to take you away from your fiance, and then it's like we're supposed to care about this character, and it's like, well, he's the good person. The fiance was a bad person because he looked up her mental health and looked into all this other stuff that her family had happened to her. And it's like, yeah, the fiance is an asshole, but also isn't it's just the main character cheating now on her fiance? I don't care about any of these fucking people. And it really sucked because of that. Like I did not like any of them.
Understandable. Yeah, that makes a big difference if you don't like the kind of that kind of stuff. Yeah, because then you're like, I don't fucking care, just let them die.
Kind of. Yeah, that's really how I felt. And like throughout the whole movie. It has some really, really good ideas, and that's why we decided we are going to watch the second one still.
Uh-huh.
Because they did some really cool things, like with playing with the general idea of the movie. Like they would have entire scenes that happen, and they didn't actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would get like a phone call, and they would talk with someone. It'd be like a normal phone call, and then halfway through the phone call, that person would reveal, I'm not actually that person.
Okay.
And then like they would look over at their phone and their phone's still on the hook, and then it's no longer in their hand, and it's like that was fucking cool. I liked moments like that where it really like fucked with you. But like, yeah, those moments were really neat, and I like that idea. There's like a moment where a character like runs out of one building because something happens, and then they turn around and they actually just ran out of a different building, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, that's really cool. That transition was neat. I liked the way they did this, like how they handled this sort of deal, and I liked it. I liked all the things about the movie except for all the main characters. So it's like I just kind of sat down and I thought to myself, I was like, if these were better characters, then this would be a better movie. So that's why I was like, I'll watch the second one anyway.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, it makes sense. I definitely follow that logic there because, see, it's kind of like a sequel for a video game. It's like, well, I kind of like the concept, and with a little bit
Mhm.
more time, a little bit more thought, it might be better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about like Silent Hill 2. Like I like Silent Hill. I like the idea of Silent Hill, but I feel like the original Silent Hill is just way too like a rough draft. The original Silent Hill feels like a rough draft of a game. And then like Silent Hill 2 comes along and like really fleshes out the idea of Silent Hill, and then Silent Hill 3 comes along and really hammers it home.
Mhm.
And I like that. And it's like I didn't stop playing Silent Hill just because Silent Hill 1 felt rough, you know? I
Yeah.
liked the concept of Silent Hill 1. I liked the idea of it. I liked the world building. So I played Silent Hill 2, and it's a fucking masterpiece, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Makes sense.
I also still am finding it really funny that you watched like Saw 6. Because I've seen every Saw movie, and
Yeah.
I cannot imagine seeing Saw 2 and then watching Saw 6. You would be the most fucking confused ever.
So fucking confused. Yeah. No, and it's like I
Especially
said,
since it becomes like a detective movie like partway through.
yeah, like I'm legitimately not joking when I said I spent more time on Wikipedia trying to figure out what the fuck is going on than I did watching the movie. Like I think about 30 minutes in, I paused it, spent like an hour and a half reading like the plot synopsis for like the last 5 movies,
You should just
and
watch
then
all of them. They're actually really good. There's like some down moments, but like now that you like kind of understand just how, or you did understand then just how like far the story goes, I think I think Saw has like a legitimately really good story
yeah,
if
no, it
you've
is an
watched
interesting
all of the
story.
movies.
Yeah. Well, and the problem though at that time, and I would imagine it's probably somewhat similar, maybe still these days, but I mean, when I watched Saw 6, it was at least 5 years ago, if not longer.
Hmm.
And the issue was at the time, like I think I was just looking for something to watch on Netflix, and the only
Yeah,
one they had was Saw 6 for
that's
whatever reason.
ridiculous.
Yeah, like they didn't have any of the older ones. They didn't have any of the ones after that. It was just that one, and I was like, "Oh, a scary movie." And like I said, I didn't not ever seen a scary movie that had that such a immense amount of like background story behind it. So I was
Hmm.
just shocked. Uh, Not lesson learned. So But yeah, no, I should go through and watch. I don't think I've actually watched any of the other ones after that. There wasn't anything against them. Just had never
Yeah,
thought to go
yeah,
back to
no,
it afterwards.
yeah, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Spiral, which was like the spin-off one, uh, which is like 8 or some shit that has like Samuel L. Jackson in it. I haven't
Oh,
seen that one yet. But like I need to get on that actually. I need to watch the last few Saw movies.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
they're good. They're good ass movies. They're
yeah.
really fun.
Oh, they can be. There's a lot of good horror movies, I think.
Hmm.
So, anyways, you ready to move on to news?
Yes.
Okay. So I had another piece of news now too. So we got three
Okay.
newses. Still Nintendo, but there's a big one I forgot about. Maybe even the biggest of them. But I'll start with the little one. So Nintendo announced new hardware this week. You excited for the Switch 2? Just kidding. Nintendo, in the most out of left field announcement ever, announced an alarm clock. Uh, so it's really kind of cute, I think. So you set it up next to your bed. Obviously, it does the time, but it also has kind of sights and sounds of a lot of Nintendo games that are popular. It looks like mostly related to the Switch. But kind of one of the examples they showed was Mario running along, and then it plays coin noises. But the coin noises have to do with you moving around like in front of the camera, like if you're rolling over instead of getting up and turning it off. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It looks like it's a lot of fun. It's kind of expensive. It's $100, which I think is pretty expensive for just an alarm clock. I bought one because of FOMO, so it should be coming next week. I won't use it because I use my phone like a normal person. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it definitely is kind of more of a this is a kind of a cool Nintendo history thing. So I'm like, I think this would be fun just to own. So that's what I did. I just bought a random Nintendo alarm clock. So I'll update more once I have it in my hands. It just shipped today, um, so I saw that. Right now, it's restricted to I think just NSO subscribers or people who buy it from the Nintendo store in New York City. So the reason I ended up getting FOMO is because apparently it is completely sold out at the New York or the Nintendo World Store in New York City, and it's sold out in Japan. So I'm like, oh no, I don't want to miss out on this. So I bought it, even though I'm sure they will restock this ridiculously expensive alarm clock again in a few weeks. So I don't know. Interesting for Nintendo. So be interesting to see what ends up coming out of that. So other announcement from Nintendo this week. So Nintendo sent out this kind of a mysterious tweet last week that was like, "Hey, we're doing an online playtest." They didn't say anything about what it is at all. They're basically just like, show up at 11 o'clock tomorrow, and we will take 10,000 people from these regions, and we will do a playtest starting on the 20th. So, well, actually, I don't even think it starts on the 20th. I think just information is revealed on the 20th. So, we don't know anything about what it is. We don't know anything about a lot of things about it. We know that the approximate file size for it is about 2.2 gigabytes. So we know that, but that's it. They really haven't said anything else. So
Yep. I'll throw my rumors out there that I was seeing, which I will also, because we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast.
yeah,
Yeah, I was on Twitter and there were a lot of people talking about how it appears to be from some leaks and from possibly some data mining for some people that actually got in and might have a way of looking into what the actual program is. It appears to be Nintendo's form of Game Pass, and I know that sounds ridiculous, because it's like, okay, well, where the fuck is all this coming from? And why do you believe this? The only reason I'm like tempering and giving it a little bit of like maybe these people weren't lying is because it was a really big thread of people talking about it on Twitter, and the entire thread has disappeared in less than an hour. Like, it is fucking gone, and there were a lot of people chatting about it, commenting about it, and everything. And now, if you go to the post, it's been deleted. It's gone. It's vanished. And it's like, okay, maybe the Nintendo ninjas got them or some shit,
yeah,
So
it's always possible. And I will say, at least kind of based on kind of things that I've thought of myself, I don't think it's game related. That's where I am currently.
So yeah, they were claiming that it is like kind of like the Nintendo Switch Online, but it's its own thing with a bunch of different older consoles and games that are from said consoles, and the ability to play them as long as you have, a subscription to whatever this service is and that sort of thing. And there's also newer games on there as well that you can download, sort of like you can with Xbox Game Pass as well. So don't know, not sure.
Don't know. And that also, I mean, it is definitely a valid possibility because you got to think about. So I think the big key to figuring this out, and this probably all will be moot by the time this episode comes out because I have a feeling that you're going to announce something this week. But I have a feeling that. What was I going to say? So you got to think. Oh, I remember. So you got to think about kind of like what value is Nintendo looking to get out of this playtest? Like, what could they possibly want out of it? And so multiplayer games, I think, are 100% out. Like I think it's almost definitive. They're not looking for like an online like multiplayer playtest. Why? Because the small amount of people that are there. So obviously, if you're only going to have 10,000 people in this playtest, the odds of them being on the same page for playing some sort of online game, not necessarily guaranteed when you're doing that small of an amount. So, I think that seems like it's less likely to be something like that. I think the theories that I like the most are that something more along the lines of a service, maybe more like something like Miiverse, something that's doesn't necessarily need to be, with those other, something you could do on your own that's not necessarily relied on by the other 10,000 people. But the value that they would get from it is, kind of see how things operate on the back end with a larger amount of people. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Nintendo almost never does kind of these kind of play tests kind of things. They did it for Splatoon. They did it for like not Wii Sports, Switch Sports. But usually those are like few and far between. And in both of those cases, they said what it was. So that's kind of the thing. That's the other thing, though, too, because whatever this is, they're not going to keep it under wraps. So it's going to get announced or leaked as soon as they send out whatever to the playtesters. So that's kind of why I have a feeling they'll soft announce whatever it is this week so people know. And then there's that. They did send out kind of I wouldn't say cryptic email, but it was an NSO email this week that basically was like, hey, stay tuned for more things coming next year, which people are getting all excited about, but I'm just like, that just is the most generic statement ever. They could have said that even without this announcement there. I think the most fun rumor that I've seen lately is Nintendo could be using it as a means to play test like interactive Nintendo Directs. And I was like, okay, that could be fun. I could see it something like that.
That would actually be really fucking cool, but like, how would it be interactive? Would you be able to play the games while they were like introducing them?
That was one of the theories that was there.
That would be so fucking cool. Imagine getting to play like 10 minutes of Metroid Prime 4 when it was revealed. That would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it was just kind of that like intro area there, like that would be really cool. Like I don't think they have to do like huge demos. Just kind of like, just like kind of like wet your whistle, kind of like the Nintendo Directs already do. So, and obviously they could have trailers and gameplay and all sorts of stuff on there. So I think something like that could be pretty interesting. Like I said, I saw like some stuff like Miiverse stuff has been pretty popular rumor wise. Trying to think, there was one other one I feel like was kind of seemed a little bit more like kind of like plausible, but it is really tricky. They're really not going on anything. It's just kind of like, here you go, sight unseen. What could it be? So it's coming. It's coming like Christmas. So we'll know soon. But I think part of it is though too. I've seen some people be like, oh, maybe it's GameCube games. Probably unlikely to be GameCube games. Like they've released enough retail GameCube games at this point that there's no reason for them to like do a trial, a playtest for it. And the other thing is, if you think about the other NSO stuff that they do, they never do playtests for like new systems. They're like, hey, test out Genesis. They do all that stuff with their own playtesters. You don't need.
There is that other rumor that Nintendo had some sort of battle royale that they were cooking up together, like with their franchises. Trying to step into the genre as late as humanly possible, as Nintendo do.
Nintendo does,
And I mean, it could have something to do with that. That would be a game to play test. That would be a thing to play test.
Yeah, but still the same thing though. It's like, you know, why would you only do 10,000 people though? Like that just seems very kind of like 10,000 people without knowing what it is. So, you know, and that's the other thing too. It's like, you know, if you're trying to get people to play test like a game, like you kind of want it to be people who are actually like interested in playing it, you know? Like if you just kind of, because who knows? You know, those 10,000 people could be like, you know, Pokemon Go grandma was like, oh, Nintendo's doing this cool thing. She's not gonna want to play a battle royale. Like, so, you know, it just kind of, I don't know. As it's very strange that the way that they did this, and I also think it's very strange how secretive they're being about it. Um, that's probably more just to keep like expectations in check, which is always a problem with Nintendo and announcements. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We should know more. Information is confirmed to be released to at least the participants on the 20th. It's this week. Like I said, I kind of have a feeling that they'll at least kind of throw out a little information between now and then, so they can control the narrative instead of letting it be kind of dictated by the playtesters. Um, but we shall see, because there's no way that, you know, if they're trying to keep it secretive from beginning to end, there's no way that will happen. So you want to get ahead of it and get ahead of it and set your own kind of narrative. So yeah, I think that's coming soon. I don't know, any other thoughts from yourself on the playtest? I'm just kind of excited to see what it
No,
is.
not really.
Yeah. All right. Um, all right. Last thing on here, and I can't believe I almost forgot about it because I've been following this news for like 3 days now. But Game Freak had a massive leak of data.
Oh my god, I have read some of the shit in this leak, and it is insane.
Yeah, the Freak leak, as I've seen it called, which I kind of
Oh
like.
yeah, why? I have you read some of the background Pokemon lore in the Freak leak?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. There's some
Kind
real
of.
strange stuff there. Not
It's
that
kind
I'm
of in.
surprised, considering
Wait,
the Pokedex entries,
wait,
but
wait, wait, wait. No, no. You've read the one I read, right?
I
The
don't
one
know which
about
one you're in.
the one about the female who would torture Pokemon with her group of friends, and it was a specific Pokemon. What was it? Hold on, let me see if I can find it again because
I've
I
not seen
clipped
whatever
it.
you're talking
Oh
about,
my
so
god, this one's crazy. It's called Original Sin based on current Pokemon world. Wait, Original Sin based. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
wait, what did you do?
Hold on, I'm looking. I'm looking.
Oh,
The Pokemon creation myth leak from the Game Freak Giga leak.
hmm.
Okay, okay. No, I'm gonna move on from this one because this is some of these aren't real. Some of these are real, and it's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
mixed in. It's kind of mixed in because there's a document with them. There's now people marking what isn't and isn't real because some people have kind of fucked with this document a bit.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if this one is or isn't. Let me try to on October multiple Okay, on October 13th, 2024, multiple unreleased pieces of Pokemon lore or origin stories been making rounds online amid the leaks. 3 creation myths unearthed from the Game Freak leak, each depicting relations between man and Pokemon, both intimate and violent, were leaked alongside this. This had been trending and ended up being titled "What the Fuck Game Freak Leak." This has garnered over 26,000 likes in one day. Pokefans reacted to the news that the creators of the game have been harboring lore information that pointed to human Pokemon relations on October 13th. Okay, so this one supposedly is real, and and it was the fucked up one I read initially. So this one's called Original Sin based on the current Pokemon world. And it is about a woman and her friends who have this sick fantasy, and they actually go out and do it all the time, of killing this one specific Pokemon. I can't remember how it's pronounced. Slakoth,
Oh
the
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and Vigoroth, Vigoroth. Yes, there we
I
go.
think it's Vigoroth.
Yeah. So basically, what is stated is they hunt and kill them for fun, torturing the creatures, her and her group of friends.
Hmm.
And then one day she wakes up in a secluded area and there's a lake where she sees the bunch of Slagoth there, and as she gets closer, she realizes that they're corpses of
Oh,
the ways that she has killed them with her groups of friends throughout the years. She leaves this place, goes home, 9 months later has a child, and the child is part Pokemon, and that the Slagoth that were there that carried her there did some unsavory things to her, in, and so she kind of had a child with one
yeah,
of
that's kind of
them.
nasty.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets worse. Um,
I don't
her
see how, but
friends,
enlighten me.
her friends that she made this group with that hunt and torture Slagoth think that she has betrayed them because she no longer hunts and tortures them because her child is one of them. So
Yeah,
one day when she's out, they sneak in and they take her child and kill it. Her child, who is a Slagoth.
sounds like something straight out of like Greek mythology.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few of these, and I saw this one specifically, and it is stating that this one is supposedly real and part of the Game Freak Giga Leak.
Uh huh.
But yeah, there's all other things that were also part of it, such as the upcoming new Pokemon games. Like the entire source code is online, apparently.
Yeah, so things that have been leaked so far, source code from it looked like it was primarily the DS Pokemon games.
Oh no, they have
Um
the new. They have, as of yesterday, the people that leaked it have stated they have the upcoming Legends game that's coming to Switch. They
no,
already
I
have a
know. I
PC
was getting there.
compiled copy of it. Oh, okay. All right.
I just haven't
Sorry. All right. I
I was
didn't
just trying
notice.
to say everything that they had
Well,
that
I'm
I've
sorry.
seen. So, it's okay. So anyway, so yeah, so they had source code from the I believe it's definitely the DS games. And also I think the how many three at least one of at least X and Y on the 3DS. I saw that they had those as well. So they have those. They did apparently allegedly have a full playable version of Pokemon Legends ZA. Um, there was the kind of like the test build on the PC. So supposedly the person who had it was able to play through the entire game from beginning to end, with some bugs and some obviously some a lot of mixing features, but said it was at least kind of generally playable from beginning to end. So that was there. Um, and then some emails and some communications, just about different things that had come out. Things that I saw were kind of like about changes to the anime, things like that. And they, interestingly, a lot of these communications were really about. At least the one for the anime I saw was them being like, "Be careful, if you're gonna make changes, people get upset and they send out nasty things. So try to handle this as best as you can." Um, so it's interesting. The supposedly the leakers really don't want to leak things for games that are not out yet, so they're supposedly not going to. I guess we'll see. We'll see what is happening with that. Um, but yeah, no, this is a massive leak, and we're still seeing a lot of information coming out of this. Another thing that leaked now, I think about it too, stuff about a new movie that is or was in development that it seems like it may have been in development hell. Um, so that's something that it could be in there too. That supposedly had a new Pokemon attached to it. Um, or was that some new information about some mega forms of Pokemon, mega evolutions. Those seem to be more related to probably um, Pokemon Legends ZA, because that has a lot of that stuff going on there. But they didn't show any images; just kind of describe the mega evolutions that they saw. Um, yeah. So this is still there was a terabyte of data that was leaked, so people are still processing it. If you remember, like back to the Giga Leak, that kind of stuff took months to sort through. So I imagine that we'll probably be looking at this stuff for a long time, but it still is, at least as far as I've seen even today, still pretty consistent with information kind of trickling out as people are going through it. So
So
Um,
I was just reading some things. People are like, there's like comments where people are like, I'm convinced the reason why these games keep being so rushed is because the development team keep having to slap the guy that keeps going. So humans used to fuck Pokemon. They have to keep being like, stop it,
no,
stop it.
it's
We're
like no,
not
do not.
putting that in our games. Get the fuck out.
But it's in the lore, obviously.
It
So
is. I'm reading another one right now, and it's again really fucked up.
yeah, I mean it does, like I said, it doesn't surprise me considering how the Pokedex was. Like a lot of those entries are really fucked up too,
Hmm.
even still. So uh, can't even blame it on being like, oh, that was Pokemon back in the day and not now. Nope, they're still kind of fucked up. So none of this
I
stuff
don't know
really surprises
why,
me.
but a lot of these stories have to do with the R word and Pokemon doing uh, grape to people, and
Oh,
it's pretty fucked.
yeah, that's kind of strange. Yeah, someone must have like a fetish or something. I don't know. Not sure. That is strange. Um, but yeah, no, I'm sure we will see more about that. And expect all this lore to just be like completely disavowed. You know that once all this is out there, you'll
Oh,
be
a
like, oh
hundred.
no.
This stuff is way too fucked. There is no way that like they would be like, yeah, that's real. Like
Yeah, stay
they're gonna
tuned.
be like, oh yeah, that's Jerry. He's the intern. He writes these stories, and we just let him have his fun, and then we just keep him locked in the basement
Yeah,
for his own good.
stay tuned for our next Pokemon games, S and A. Like, yeah, like I
I want
don't.
I want Pokemon SNA to be the title of the episode.
The rate it's going. Yeah. Um, but at least for me, news wise, that's all I got. So I don't know if you have anything else.
uh, no, I don't have anything, but I can't stop laughing either now.
Are you ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to reach out to us, send us an email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. And you can check out all of our old episodes at game-crunch.com. Brandon,
Hello.
any final thoughts?
No.
Okay. Well, that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online on Clash Bang with there or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
Game on, Mike and Brandon on the screen, diving deep in the pixel stream. Every level, every quest, shine. Game on, got that power up, feeling blessed. Controllers up, hear the cheer, blasting through the gaming sphere. Game on, here we go, Mike and Brandon zone. Game on, unlocking secrets, never playing alone. With every challenge, our spirits align. Level up, hit the score, it's a neon sign. Jump and run, join the thrill, it's a world premiere. Game on, in the realm of heroes, we conquer the fear.
Yeah, like the one I was just reading was like how Typhlosion came about, right? And
Uh-huh.
apparently, like a a Bakufan, Bakufan. I can't. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Anyway, it kidnapped a girl and gaslit her forever. Like fed her things to make her forget. Killed her father, wore his skin. This shit's crazy. And according to at least this, it's not marked as fake. So, uh, uh, um,
Yeah. No, definitely.
people are saying like reading this lore dump that was from the Giga Leak feels like reading a creepypasta.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, this is like some like, insane fanfic,
It
not
does.
like something that you would expect there.
Well, like I just said, people had to mark what was real and what was actually people trying to, fake it and lock
Mhm.
the thing because the real and the fakes were getting confused because they both are so fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. That makes it tricky when it's like that.
Like,
Yeah.
here's one about like an Indian guy who wanted a Rapidash's mane, but the only way it would give it to him is if he became their husband, and then he did, and he was able to ride on the Rapidash without catching fire, and they mated, and they had ponytas, and then other people from his tribe tried to come and take the ponyta's mane and tried to mate with his children that he created, and what?
Yeah, that is insane. Absolutely insane.
It's insane. That this is actually crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be interesting to see what else ends up coming out of this. So, if anything, I think I might just get Nintendo, or well, rather, the Pokemon Company, whoever, maybe to announce some more details on Pokemon X or sorry, not X, Pokemon Legends ZA. Again, just kind of get their own narrative out there and make sure people don't think it's like some sort of like sexual assault video game.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it seems like it.
What Nick's actually testing is the M-rated version of Pokemon, which is this. Oh yeah, the Pokemon MMO. I forgot about that. That was also in the
Oh
league.
yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have zero faith in it though. I guess that's also where I am on it. But we'll see. I mean, there's lots of things that Game Freak is good at, and there's lots of things that they are not good at. And multiplayer online is definitely one of the things they are not good at.
Yep.
I think they do a decent job, but definitely not someone you'd be like, oh yeah, I would trust them with a Pokemon MMO.
Yeah.
Yeah, they struggle with single player, like stuff on the scale of obviously Scarlet and Violet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I imagine that we'll probably see a bit more of that coming out. And like I said, they'll try to get ahead of the story. I think
Yeah.
we should probably hear something soon. So yeah.